نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. It is sunnah to cover the head, as Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would usually do that, both inside and outside of the prayer. And that is why there's opinion that if you pray without covering your head and without a valid excuse for that, the prayer is still valid, yet this is going against the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and one should try and carry on with the practice that has been passed on from generation to generation. So if you go back, and you would not find any time in the history where Ummah as a whole abandoned this sunnah. So this is considered a disliked action in the prayer. Why? Because this is not the Sabilul Mu'mineen. This is not the Sirat al-Ladina an'amta alayhim. Now, is it specific to prayer? Well, it is generally, even without prayer, one should try and keep the head covered. And that has been the norm. But obviously, in the modern time, people have left it, well, for 50 years from their day-to-day life, but now they are forcing it in the name of following the Sunnah and trying to put things right and rewrite the Islamic history and rewrite the Islamic teachings, and taking it even away from masajid. And you would not find a decent scholar, someone who you would look up to, someone who is more traditional, to not do so. They would keep their head covered, be it in Arab world or Asian world, African world or European world. Muslims all around the world, even today, keep it as a norm that when they enter the masjid, they would look up to their imams, their teachers, covering nicely, having nicely, donned their thawb or kurta or whatever Islamic dress they have, covering themselves properly, and this was never questioned. Now, unfortunately, in the last 20-30 years, people have started talking about this, and they actually claim that it is better not to cover your head. And you found it, subhanallah, like for 40 years, for 1400 years, Ummah didn't know it, and Ummah did something which was completely wrong, and now people are doing much more better action. And that's pure arrogance, that they know better than the people for 1400 years. So I think we should be very, very clear that we must follow the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the pious generations, and up to now we would find this as a practice of Ummah. So we shouldn't make it, it is not a condition for prayer to be valid. So sometimes when the scholars say that, they actually mean that don't overemphasize it, so that the people who find someone without having a cap on and praying, that they go out of their way and censure that person, taunt them, try to correct them. That's not right. We shouldn't be going that far, but we should keep it as a norm. This is a norm in the family, this is a norm in the society, this is a norm in our masajid, and it should be like that. May Allah keep it safe. Otherwise, we would fear that slowly and slowly we'll continue to blur the boundaries of Islam, and we keep going out. Initially, you leave the adab. This is from the adab, etiquettes of prayer. And then you leave the sunnah. And when you leave the sunnah, it starts affecting your faraid. And once you are getting your faraid affected, which we know a lot of Muslims cannot even keep up with their faraid, then it attacks aqeedah. This is how the shaitan would creep in. So we should be very, very clear that we do not let it happen in our lifetimes, because we are responsible, we are trusted with this deen, we have to impart it on to the next generation. May Allah give us all the tawfiq.